Victoria Free is a game where you shape your country through laws and politics. Today we are taking Belgium and transforming it into a perfectly functional democracy where politicians who don't quite share our goals have a strange habit of disappearing. I pretty much haven't played Victoria Free ever since E5 came out, so I think it's a good time for us to mix things up a little bit. I do enjoy this game after all, and there is a new DLC. Well, at least it's new for me because I haven't played ever since National Awakening, so now we even have Iberian Twilight, and I'm gonna be playing my favorite Iberian country, Belgium. No, but jokes aside, since I completely forgot how to play this game, I think Belgium is gonna be the safest choice. We're gonna do a playing tall campaign, so our conquest in Europe is gonna be limited to pretty much just the Netherlands. And apart from that, we're gonna grow our colonies. We are also going to create a power block eventually and try to get the most profitable company and maybe even the most GDP. Speaking of companies, we have this amazing company over here which already covers a bunch of industries, but we're going to add an additional one to iron mines, grab investment rights, trade rights. Eventually we're gonna have the precision tools prestige good, which is just amazing because it covers just a million of different industries. It's used in them, and this means they will get a throughput bonus of up to 20% when we do have the prestige good. Now let's talk a bit about the changes that happened since my last video, because the map has changed a lot. Like, for example, remember those good times when you could send your troops for 2 to 3 years to Dagestan and forget? Okay, more like South Africa. But yeah, this is totally different now. We have Winburg, Basutoland. Basically, the Boer states have been split up into smaller countries. Gaza has a lot of battalions now. They actually don't have any treaties, but these other little states, such as Winburg, do have guarantees by Great Britain. So it's a little bit harder to cheese this, but I guess you can still do it because Zulu also doesn't have treaties. They have 20 battalions. But anyways, we're not going to be doing that in today's campaign. I'm just showing you the changes. Like, we have a little bit of change here. I believe it was all owned by Oman previously. Now it's like Mombasa, Witu, we have Tunji. Not sure if Angochi was here before, but I don't remember seeing them. Also, Tripolitania is like much smaller. We have playable Fazan, and we have a bunch of wasteland here as well. Most importantly to us, Netherlands actually has a new piece of land here in Dutch West Indies. And speaking of that, what I used to do previously is grab interests on Senegal and Grand Colombia, and that would allow you to just full annex the Netherlands. Now I'm not sure if we can do it because we need free interests. We would need one on the Caribbean too. But I guess we're not gonna try and cheese this too much. We're just gonna maybe annex the Netherlands a bit later into the campaign, not like 4 years into the campaign. And we're not gonna try and grab like treaties. Like, what I would used to do previously is use these starting treaties and renegotiate, because you have better chances as you basically offer more stuff as it is. Already give up trade privileges, investment rights, so you can get alliances, defensive pact and such a little bit cheaper. Not gonna try and do this campaign. Let's go for research. So we're gonna primarily focus on society because I want to push for colonialism. I want to go for canine, get civilized in mission as fast as possible, and just colonize as much. So let's start with psychiatry, realism, pharmaceuticals. We can switch up our production methods. Government administrations will use secular administration. We're going for secular academia for universities, philosophy department for some additional innovation and qualifications, and we will also subsidize the trade centers. Now we can slap a couple of decrees on Wallonia and Flanders, which are pretty much going to be our primary states. So we're going with road maintenance and promote social mobility. And let's get some consumption taxes going. Liquor and services are pretty safe choices. We can reduce the government wages, military wages. So we're gonna first build in Wallonia. Let's start with a couple of construction sectors. We can follow this up with 5 iron mines, logging camps, and build a couple of livestock ranches as well, because these are just resources that we will need to support our iron frame buildings. We're gonna need tools as well, but we start with a surplus of tools. We have plus 70. So yeah, pretty much we're just gonna pay attention to our market and see what kind of shortages we have and basically build depending on that. Now let's grab some rivals. We're going to rival pretty much everybody that is currently available so that we get as much influence as possible. And we're going to use it on improving relations with the great powers ahead of the London conference. Now when it comes to our first law, I would like to switch out mercantilism. And to do that, we need to reform our government and bring in the rural folk up in here. This will allow us to go for protectionism. So enact law, and we have this new thingy. I don't know how much of a new thingy this is to most of you guys, but this is new to me because I haven't played in a while. We have negotiations. So we have indifferent and opposing interest groups. And for example, industrialists completely oppose this law. But if we bribe them a little bit, the stall chance would be reduced by 8%, which would be a massive swing for us. So that's exactly what we're gonna try and do. And now we can choose between having a little bit more government expenses, enacting a law that they support, or investing in heavy industries. And this actually seems pretty easy because you get 10 years to just increase your heavy industries by 2, and these can be fertilizers, explosives, and so on. So it's something that we're gonna build anyways, and we can easily do this one. Now, if we wanted to, we could negotiate with more of the groups, but I think we're gonna be fine with 11% success chance here, hopefully. Election season has begun in Belgium, and with it the strategizing of the government's fixers. If we wish, we may wield the power of the state to ensure a favorable result. Now essentially what this event allows you to do is rig the elections. Alternatively, if we want to, we can pass the third option, and when we do this 5 times, we will get the tradition of free elections, which is, I believe, like a little bit of an addition to wealth voting. And every time you do this, you increase your electoral confidence by 10%. Of course, we're going to rig the elections, and we're going to add 150% momentum to the Liberal Party, because that's obviously the fan favorite. What a perfect timing for crooked connections as well. Let's reduce the enactment time. Actually, guys, we might need a little bit more support here, so I'm going to negotiate with the petite bourgeoisie as well, because this increases success by 17%. Yeah, so I think we're going to be best off with the 30% bureaucracy loss, which is not that big of a deal at the start. We have a surplus, so we can afford it, and it's going to be decaying over the 10 years. So we're at 40 right now, comfortably. We could also spend it to level 3 education, but I think I'm going to delay this a little bit until we no longer have the church, or rather until we no longer have the religious schools, because this increases the church's power so much. And the election results are here. Who could have thought? People voted for the Liberal Party a lot. How could this happen? Anyways, yeah, we're gonna be down to 34 legitimacy right now, which is not perfect, but we need to keep it this way. We actually don't want to switch the party yet because we're still waiting for this law to be passed. After this enacted, we can reform the government, and we're gonna have way more legitimacy with the liberals. Oh, look at that, we're down to 27. We might even need to reduce our taxes if we drop down below 25. And we have the Hague call for a conference. So now what we need to happen is, for us to get a favorable result in the London conference, we need the great powers to back us. From what I've noticed previously is that usually does happen when you're playing Belgium. There we go, somebody's already backing us. Come on, boys, come on. 800 prestige. We're looking good, I think we got this. Also, we have this little thing happening. Great Britain is inviting us to a power block. Now, looking into this, the British Empire is a pretty strong power block because they have colonial offices level 3, which gives you a big boost to colonial growth and less infamy against unrecognized powers. I would absolutely love to use this bonus, especially since we're gonna aim for the colonial law next, and we don't really want to upset these guys anyways. The main problem is that we need to become a great power within the next 5 years, or we will need to leave the power block. Otherwise we can be subjugated because it is a sovereign empire type power block. I think I'm gonna accept it anyways. I think we're gonna find a way out, and maybe this will allow us to get the favorable treaty. Just maybe. Nah, not really. We can now ratify the Treaty of London, and we got screwed the last second, so now we're favoring 24 points. We're gonna have to refuse to sign. Screw that, bro. Oh, that sucks, man, but what can you do? Sometimes you just get a little bit unlucky. Now we retain the same borders, but pretty much we just upset all the great powers. And we unfortunately obviously don't get to own Luxembourg. At least we now have protectionism. So next what we can do is reform the government, grab the Liberal Party. We have high legitimacy, which is great. And now we can potentially pass colonial exploitation with 31% success. Nobody's mad about it. We can get it done. We can return to medium taxes as well, and we can get another construction sector because we can afford it. Now, looking into the situation with our states, we do have a little bit of a problem. There's 8% starving population in Brussels, we have 5% starvation in Gelre, and this might be a bit on the rise in Wallonia as well. Right now it's 0%, which is still good. But yeah, we need to build some food here, so I'm gonna get a couple of livestock ranches in both of these states, since this is also going to give us fabric. Gonna make sure to have the road maintenance decree on as well. And we need also bureaucracy, so we're gonna build a government administration building. We want to focus on the states that have negative tax capacity, such as Flanders, so this is basically us hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. Very well, we have colonial exploitation, so we can go and establish our first colony now. I think I'm gonna do it in Senegal because we have this awesome cap worth modifier that increases market access price impact. So let's grab ourselves a piece of Senegal. There's a lot of competition here. We have France, we have Portugal, we have Great Britain colonizing. So eventually what I hope is going to happen, these guys will want to trade. Usually when you get like a little piece of a state, great powers give you a trade offer and offer you an even better location in exchange for it. This is my favorite event just because of the artwork. Look at this Slav squatting guy in the rice fields. 10 out of 10 artwork. Gotta rig the elections again, boys. Free trade party. Okay, we have a moderate guy that can become the leader of the landowners. Is this good? That is the question. And the answer is we don't care because we already have a moderate. But this reminds me that we might be able to find like a good agitator that suits what we need to happen. Like for example, we have Solomon over here, which is a market liberal. We have a market liberal in the intelligentsia group. We have a moderate in the free trade party. And we could use this guy to pass some pretty decent laws like laissez-faire, free trade, but also I kind of want to focus on replacing the baddies. We have the radical here in the trade unions, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Everybody else is moderate, but we don't have any replacement for this guy, so I guess we might as well go for the market liberal. Yeah, I'm gonna grant him leadership. Boom, you are welcome, sir. Yeah, so there's definitely nothing unusual to see here in the Netherlands. Definitely nothing suspicious going on. There's no battles between Great Britain and the Netherlands. What the hell is happening here? So casually, just like that, Great Britain invaded the Netherlands and they're about to conquer Dutch West Indies, Dutch Guyana, and a couple of their subjects. I think this is a time for us to go as well, and if we go and conquer state, we can see that nobody's actually gonna come in to their defense. And they actually managed to repel the British forces. They're winning these battles. Okay, let's go. Let's go ourselves. Now, we will need 2 armies for this because we have the Luxembourg front that we will need to take over. So let's split our units into 2 halves. We're gonna add like a few line infantry units there to the 2nd army. We're gonna need an extra general, and Albert over here seems pretty good. He's got some decent traits, additional offense and defense. Let's make him a level 2. And we will need to replace our decrease. Promote social mobility goes away, and we take enlistment effort because this is going to give us a lot of conscripts. Regarding our budget, we're gonna keep high taxes for now. It's gonna be probably pretty expensive this war. And let's increase our military wages. Okay, so you guys go to the Luxembourg front and our main army is gonna go to the Flanders front. There, if we conscript skirmish infantry, we can see that we can have 80 conscripts. I'm gonna go with 50 for now, and if we're gonna need more, we're just going to recruit more later on. Let's make sure that our generals are on defend front for now until we do get these conscripts available. Holy shit, we are failing National Guard. We have 1 setback and we're down to 2% success chance. Yeah, this is not going well. We're approaching 79 escalation now, so we're gonna add some additional goals. Boom, stop this. And let's go for Holland and everything else that they own here. And we're up to 80 infamy, but we're going to make Holland goal a primary one as well, because I have a suspicion that they could just back down, and we want to make sure that we take at least something. Okay, the war has broken out. Just gonna wait a little bit more for a couple more conscripts. Oh, it looks like the British are fully occupying them, so it's not like we would be able to advance there anyways. Might as well merge our units back. I didn't think it would happen so quickly here. We actually have a pretty massive advantage over offense and defense, so I think we can go ahead and change our stance. Advance front and take this over. Boom, there we go. Our Luxembourg battle, and looks like we're just crushing them, inserting our Belgian flags. Are the British? I think the British are already out. Yep, because we can now conquer this ourselves. Boom, just need to take over Friesland and we're gonna be done. They're losing a lot of war score. Actually, this war didn't cost us pretty much anything. We are good to go. We just stormed out the Netherlands out of Europe. They will now reside in this tiny island above Venezuela, and we will proclaim the new title of United Netherlands, which is going to give us 25 prestige for 20 years. We are now the United Netherlands and we have this beautiful color. Of course, we're gonna have a much higher rank now, so maybe we can become a great power. Let's see if we increase our wages. We are rank number 9, very close. We just need 130 prestige, so we're gonna have to establish our second company, get a few arts academies built, and we should be able to become a great power. Hey, look at that, 5% prestige trend event. This will help. Now there might be some problems. Like people are probably going. They actually don't hate. How is this even possible? Great Britain is not even mad about our crazy conquest with 90 infamy here. We might even stay in this power block. But yeah, we're definitely gonna need to grab some additional rivals so that we can continue improving relations with the great powers. And we can now grab some additional interests. So let's actually go for the Caribbean, let's go for Brazil and a bunch of areas in Africa, because we're gonna continue colonizing here after we grab our piece of Senegal. Definitely gonna go for Congo. And we're probably gonna make an exception to conquest when it comes to Congo, because it's historical after all. The Dutch-British Society has offered us an opportunity to establish an alliance with Great Britain. I actually would not mind that if it is even possible for us to do it. Very possible. +2 if we renegotiate our treaty. Military access, this adds just a little bit. If we give them an obligation, we could get an alliance. Okay, so not really possible to get investment rights, but if we do something like this, we don't even need to give an obligation. We have 90% chance for them to accept, so let's try and get this alliance for 25 years. And boom, we have the Friendship, Commerce and Navigation Alliance with Great Britain. It feels good to feel safe like this. And we actually did it pretty damn early, 1843. I did not expect to attack the Netherlands so quickly in this campaign, not gonna lie. With us getting a little bit more prestige from becoming the world's first producer of fine art, we are finally a great power. Which means we now have a very low interest rate, only 6.9%. So we can have some credit, it's not really a big problem now. There is a big problem that we don't have enough influence, and because of this we're losing our infamy very slowly, so we're gonna need to find a couple of more rivals. Maybe let's go for United States. Yeah, this is going to be enough for now. So I didn't rig this election. Now we have the Conservative Party, and this is because we were down to 62% electoral confidence, so we cannot rig every single election like we would like to, because if you have this at a low level, then you lose a lot of legitimacy and it cooks you. Over time it cooks you. We unfortunately did fail to get National Guard, so now I'm trying to appease the Conservatives a little bit more. We are going for charity hospitals, and after we get this, then we can get rid of the religious school system, replace this with something like private or public schools. We also unfortunately now have Springtime of the Peoples. This is probably my least favorite journal entry in all of Victoria Free. This just sparks a ton of revolutions. We're just gonna try and survive this without causing too much trouble in our country. We're not looking to change any laws through this, so we're just gonna try and stay neutral. Also, not gonna lie, we did promise national militia before to rural folk. I didn't consider that the consequences will be so bad, but if we fail this, we're gonna lose a crap ton of legitimacy, interest group, approval. We're gonna have to announce a delay, but we're still going to probably fail this after these 3 years because we just don't want to go for national militia. Or we're gonna go for it, but later revert back. We'll see. Yeah, so we have our first revolution here. It's not really something that we can stop. Like, we can suppress these movements, but it costs 200 authority, and we have like a bunch of protesting movements, so it's not like we would get 1000 or whatever we need to actually suppress all of them. So I'm just gonna go with the flow here. Hopefully they're just gonna disappear after the Springtime of the Peoples. We need the national... No, actually we need the secret police, and here's why. Hear me out. We really need the secret police. We established our second company. We have the United Flanders Papers Producers, and our executive is a buffoon, absolute buffoon. He's bigoted, so he loses 35 popularity, which makes it hard for us to get prosperity. And there is an action that we can take. We can arrange accident for this boy. We just need to have secret police, so we're gonna go for this law for sure. We need to get rid of this fool. Yeah, this hurts. We get 20% of our pops in one of our states becoming more radical. It's just straight up pops, not like upper strata, lower strata, straight up pops, so that's a lot. In Flanders, we have 2.6 million population, so that would be like, what, nearly 500,000? And then in Gelre, we only have 900,000, so it's not as bad. We have to go with the first option here. And that's still a lot of radicals. We have 2.6 million, which is pretty wild. We did get the charity hospitals established though, so now we can go for Actually, public and private schools have the same chances of being enacted, so might as well go for the public ones. That's gonna be a massive addition to success chance if we appease the petite bourgeoisie, so okay. Day 1 secret police, so our views kinda align. I like that. Y'all smart, y'all really smart. I'll give you that. You loyal, you smart. The good word of the revolution. So we don't like the revolution ourselves, but we are gonna spread it. France will now get the echoes of revolutions. Enjoy it, boys. Holy crap, we have a massive shortage of wood. I just noticed 700. Yeah, okay. We still have a lot of places where we can get logging camps, so let's just go ahead and get maxed out logging camps in Flanders. We also will have a little bit more construction now, and I'm going to switch all of our construction sectors to be iron frame buildings. That's 88 construction already, which means we probably will need a lot more iron too. Yeah, there we go. There's a big shortage of iron now as well. Luckily, we have a lot of spots here available in Wallonia. So pharmaceuticals have been unlocked. We're just gonna continue with our society research, go for quinine next. And I think afterwards we will get a water tube boiler, because it's actually pretty important for us as United Netherlands, because this will give us access to lowlands land reclamation. We just need to have water tube boiler researched, and we will be able to get some more arable land through a lot of events that we will get with that. Oh god, that's so many revolting movements. That's crazy. Gone in a flash. Whilst Emperor Leopold of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha was riding in a carriage between Brussels and one of his country estates, a revolutionary threw himself under the carriage with a live grenade, slaying both the emperor and himself. Are you kidding me? These were like the last revolutionaries, and they took out our ruler. At least you know, effects are not that bad. We're only going to have for 2 years a decaying effect of -5 legitimacy and a little bit of authority, so it's not that bad. But now we have a regency as well, which is going to add a legitimacy debuff. So this is pretty cool. We can make our company's executive John Cockerill become our country's ruler. So that's exactly what we're going to do, because he's an industrialist. Let's go, buddy. You now rule our country, not only the company. We also can finally push for level 3 education, and probably even for level 2 health system, although it increases the church power, it's not going to be that much. So we just got the water tube boiler. Let's get a couple of government administrations, and then we can do lowlands land reclamation. Okay, time to establish some more colonies, boys. Let's go for Congo now. And we can even grab level 3 colonial affairs. Our company has now started producing prestige tools. That's awesome. I just need to get rid of this guy. And we do happen to have secret police now, so bad news, sir. Because you're gonna be invited to a party, to a very luxurious party. Yeah, where is he? He's been gone for a while. Oh, I guess we have to appoint a new executive. Just so happens that this guy is pretty popular, you know. Under the new leadership, we will also add an additional industry to this company, to logging camps, and the company shall prosper now with added 0.44 prosperity every week. Dude, our pops are so violent, it's crazy. Some guy with a grenade killed our previous ruler. Now we have reforms at a gunpoint. I'm not gonna give in to these bastards, man. You can threaten us with your guns, with your grenades, it's not gonna happen. We have a proposal from the French Republic. We would become the owner of French Ivory Coast, and they want Dutch Senegal. What I was saying earlier, if we have like a portion of the state that the AI is colonizing, they will offer us a good deal. And in this deal, we get a state with 134,000 population for... Actually, we're losing out on population, so we kind of need to look at what kind of resources we have. French Ivory Coast has 2 logging camps and 9 arable land, so that's pretty much nothing. This is actually a really bad deal. I'm gonna have to decline this one. Oh god, this guy has just been released from prison. You did some additional crimes. We kinda didn't take those in account previously. Your sentence actually should have been 15 years, sir. Please get back in there. Long live the emperor. Does this guy actually have the exact same name as our previous emperor? And he's a royalist, so he endorses monarchy, opposes council republic. Yeah, we're fine with that. The only problem now is that we do need to reform our government, because he's petite bourgeoisie. And these guys have like some of the worst leaders possible. Workhouse regulations will be added to poorer laws, and it will reduce the bureaucracy cost of social security, reduce the dangerous conditions. Hey, that actually sounds pretty decent. Let's go. I like when you get these little bonuses through the events. Really adds a lot to these laws. This is a pretty crazy German empire. I haven't been really paying too much attention to the map itself, but we have German empire including Austria-Hungary. That is a really powerful country. These guys like our fine art, don't they? Investment rights, trade privileges, then fine art, and they are willing to give up trade privileges only. Do you want to give us investment rights as well? They do. Okay, then we can invest in Russia, sure. We actually just might be able to get investment rights from Great Britain as well if we owe an obligation and do some meat trading, or rather prohibit trade of meat. Yeah, if you want to accept that, I will take that. We now have investment rights in both Great Britain and Russia. That's like 3,000 earnings per banana plantation in West Bengal. And give this a go. Let's try it out. And we definitely need to get our construction up because we're down to only 6 million in credit. We definitely restored our economy. We're doing very solid right now. So let's get like another 5 construction sectors in Wallonia. That's gonna be way too small of an investment, right? Let's just max out in Wallonia, shall we? Circassian Pops have noticed that there is definitely better life outside of Russian borders, and now they're migrating to Wallonia. Well, I'm not very surprised because Wallonia is a pretty rich state. It covers like half of our entire GDP. It has 2.3 million population right now, and it has some problems that we need to desperately fix. Infrastructure is bad, tax capacity is bad. Okay, we're gonna make life even better over here. A couple of government stations, and we desperately need to queue up some railways here. Let's grab like 5 railways just to be safe. We also will increase the acceptance of Circassian Pops by 20, so they're going to be pretty satisfied in our country. If we look into our society tab, we can now see that actually the highest acceptance is obviously for the Dutch, Flemish, Wallonians. English Pops have 65 acceptance, North Germans also, Ashkenazi, and Circassians are right behind these guys with 45 acceptance now. 50 of that comes from sharing heritage trait. They're Europeans with the primary culture. Does this not display the additional 20 that we just got from the event, or what's going on here? Because we're supposed to have plus 20, right? Anyways, yeah, we have social security now. Let's push for the 3rd level. And we really need to get rid of charity hospitals to just reduce the church's clout once and for all to below 5%. They're gonna be upset. They can do whatever they like. We're even going to bribe Petite Bourgeoisie to give us a massive success chance for this so that we can get this as fast as possible. Let's just give them political concessions. Screw it. Now we have a super legitimate government with 90 legitimacy, which means we're getting some really good bonuses for enactment time and loyalists. And remember those days when we had like 3 million radicals and no loyalists? Well, they are going to change pretty quickly now. Oh my god, we also have Italy. The world is shaping really quickly in this campaign. Yeah, you could say the investments that we made in the East India Company are paying off. We're currently getting 54,000 from investment pool transfers. And we only own 15 levels in their country. That's 1.35 million GDP owned by us. So we're gonna build up a little bit of resources in our own country. I'm queuing up 20 ships so that we can start some naval invasions. And afterwards, yeah, we will continue investing in East India Company. Let's also put these construction sectors to the front of the queue. We're gonna have 10 construction sectors in Gelre, Holland. We already are maxed out in Wallonia. And yeah, pretty much we're just bit by bit going to max out in all of our main states. We have 3.7 million in investment pool as well. So if the credit gets too unbearable, then we will just stop using our own funds for the construction. We also restored our electoral confidence to 100%, which means we're not losing any more legitimacy, and we can continue rigging elections going forward, making sure that we have high legitimacy. Human rights has been researched, which means we can now go and establish compulsory primary school. Gotta start updating more of our production methods. I kind of forgot about these. We could start using nitroglycerin, but I think I will just skip on this and go after dynamite. This is usually what I like to do because it gives you just a lot of mortality if you go for nitroglycerin. But we definitely need to switch to rails transportation. We're not gonna have enough railways, that's for sure, but we're going to build these up. And as such, we get the railroad boom, 4.15 thousand progress towards steel railway cars. That's nice. Dude, pops are now migrating even from France to our country. France is absolutely massive. What the hell, man? What the hell, man? The great powers are completely out of control in this playthrough. Great Britain committed some atrocities in Persia as well. Speaking of Great Britain, German Empire sides with Russia against Great Britain. What kind of war even is this, man? So apparently Russia owns Afghanistan and Great Britain was like, transfer Afghanistan to us. Yeah, we're taking no part of that. We're just peaceful colonizers, you know? Just little peaceful colonizers. Oh, Congo, don't mind if I do. Actually, since we have this little colony next to Congo, we don't even need to use our own ships. Kinda forgot about that. We have some really good laws now. One thing that I would really like to switch, laissez-faire. This is a law that we need to reduce our loan interest rate. And I think we can go for it. The rural folk are the only ones that are going to be a little bit upset, but we should be fine. Let's try and negotiate with them. Actually, that would reduce the stall chance by only 2%, so we would be much better off by negotiating with Petite Bourgeoisie. This is not bad. We can definitely increase our light industries from 68 to 95. 10 years for that is just lovely. We are currently building some tooling workshops and we will be queuing up even more paper mills, so that will contribute as well. There we go. Let's get a few more in Flanders. Congo, you ain't ready for this, son. We are here and your land belongs to us. They're trying to protect their precious cargo over here. Not gonna work out for you, son. There we go. All of Congo is ours now. We can actually start some expeditions. We just need to get another admiral. So let's just quickly... we don't have an explorer. Maybe we can try a couple more times. Nah, unfortunately we did not get an explorer. So we will try and do an expedition without one. Just send whichever one of these guys. Well, that was quick. Let's push for a policing law now. Dedicated police force is gonna be sweet. Especially because we are still in the British Empire power block and they picked police coordination level 3, so this will give us 50 authority with each policing or rather law enforcement level. So that's going to be a massive amount of authority, and I'm actually probably going to stay in this power block for quite a while simply because I really like their principles and we don't need to waste time, you know, just getting mandate ourselves. Of course, we failed the expedition. Why wouldn't we? I think I won't go on another one until we have the commander that we want. So we will just retire all of these guys and try to replace them with an explorer. We are making way too much money. Our credit is just going down. So it's time for us to continue building more construction sectors. Really good. Civilizing mission now has been unlocked. So we can pick level 4 colonial affairs. We have a lot of institutions already. Let's bump up our production a little bit more. Next, we cannot go for dynamite yet because we haven't finished the previous researches from the previous tier. So let's go for chemical bleaching. And then we can queue up dynamite, steam donkey. Gonna go for reinforced concrete as well for 15% construction sector building throughput. And now since we're building so many universities, we probably will need a lot more paper. Yeah, so wood and paper. Two priorities that we currently have. We're actually maxed out on most of our states when it comes to logging camps. So where else can we get wood? I would like to build it domestically. Ivory Coast has 10 logging camps available. We have some in Dutch Guyana. Guys, we're going for atheism. Atheism is gonna give us 200 authority. That's pretty crazy. Well, that's 100 authority difference between freedom of conscience and atheism. But this is going to make the Catholic Church completely powerless in our country. So let's go for it. Ooh, interesting, Brazil. Now, this is a little bit of a better opportunity. I like that offer. Investment rights? Okay, sure. Defensive pact, we can have it. Maybe that's the way to go. Just refuse every offer AI throws at you and eventually they're gonna offer you something juicy. Oh god, these guys are annoying. Why do you need me for the Ottoman Empire? Are you crazy? Well, I guess we kinda have to join. Yeah, sure. But only because you will be helping us with Portugal and Spain. Okay, now it's definitely time to go for proportional taxation. So for that, we had to add the trade unions to our government. And we will be trying to negotiate because we really need this. If we can negotiate with the landowners, we will be able to completely eliminate the stall chance. So that would be really awesome. These guys want a standard of living increase to 15.4. That's actually a pretty big ask, but let's try to do this within 10 years. Okay, so before going for Portugal, how about we do this? We have the Netherlands still being alive, so we can take Dutch East Indies from them. That would be 45 infamy only, and nobody's gonna join. So that's pretty much a freebie. None of these would be important even if we have a power block in the future. They're unrecognized powers, so when it comes to other subjects, we could just conquer them. And it's pretty cheap when it comes to infamy, 3.5 infamy for a state pretty much. So we're gonna be grabbing a lot of this stuff. Take all of their Indonesian belongings. Here we go, let's do a quick naval invasion here for the Netherlands. They only have one measly unit to defend their entire country. This little junk pile is their entire country pretty much. So now time for the Dutch East Indies as well. We're coming, boys, don't worry. Oh shit, I didn't even notice this. They're fighting for Brunei Protectorate at the same time. And there we go, we just took over their capital, West Java. We just enforced our war goals on the Netherlands, and now we own the Dutch East Indies and everything else that they had here in Indonesia. And we're up to nearly 50 million GDP now, boys. We are the 5th nation when it comes to GDP. We're about to surpass Germany. We just surpassed France. So Germany is next. Then we have Great Britain, which should be pretty easy to do. And the minion of India as well as Great Qing is going to be a bit more of a challenge. Wow, Great Britain. Okay, buddy. You are going ham in Persia. So yeah, right now we are just going to wait until our infamy goes down a little bit. We're gonna go after Portugal next. Been a while since we established our last company, so we're gonna go for investment banks, which is going to give us another slot. And afterwards, malaria prevention, which is going to allow us to max out on our colonial affairs. Yet another expedition has been finished. We get another 25% prestige. We are the 2nd greatest power currently in the world. Actually, we are very behind the first one, which is Great Britain. Of course, as soon as we take over the Dutch East Indies, we have the Krakatau eruption. Well, the thing is that we can and we will help them out with emergency relief, because it should reduce the devastation by 5% each month if we have this enabled. I'm not entirely sure if it works for your subjects though, because we did add this to Dutch West Borneo, but it doesn't seem to reduce it that fast. What is this, man? We're only the 6th most literate country in the world. This is not allowed. We have to take the first spot. We're building a crap ton of universities everywhere. So we finally have access to our 3rd company, and I'm going to be establishing Wallonia Premium Munitions, not for the bonus specifically, but for the prestige good, because it covers some very important buildings. We have construction sectors, all types of mines, and even munition plants. It will get up to 20% throughput, so that's going to be amazing. Let's go ahead and establish this. Lucky you, my friend. Lucky you. He's liked in the community, plus 35 popularity. You know what would have happened otherwise. Wise choice, sir. Alright, so this is not fantastic. If we were to attack Portugal now, even the Ottoman Empire is gonna join. So we're gonna need to build a stronger army before we think of this. We're not in a rush, we still have some infamy. There is a little bit of a problem though. We have insufficient construction for investment pool, and we are already maxed out on construction sectors in our main states. In the lowlands, 25 construction sectors in all of them. But one thing we haven't done yet is switching to steel frame buildings. So we're gonna do a bit by bit switch. Starting with Wallonia, switch here, fix the shortages, and then we're gonna switch in the other states one by one, because we're gonna have massive shortages of steel and glass. Everybody's just giving us investment rights at this point, and who am I to say no? Mexico, sure, we can build some plantations up in y'all land. We also have investment rights from Denmark, Brazil, still have investment rights from the British as well, and Russia. It's 1882 and we already surpassed 100 million GDP. We have 86% ownership of that ourselves. Some of it is owned by Great Britain, Russia, and we ourselves, we own nearly 140 million GDP in foreign countries as well. Most of it in India, Russia, Dutch East Indies, and Great Britain. We already have the most profitable company with 822,000 profit. We built massive cities, and we're also constructing a skyscraper right now in Flanders. We're gonna go after Portugal, take all of their stuff in Africa, and I want to play this to at least 1900 so we can get like 300-400 million GDP. I think we can easily do it. We actually still have a surplus of 200 authority, so we're going to use that to get some more greener grass campaign decrease, and we have them in all of our Dutch states. Dude, our population is growing super rapidly right now. 1.5% pop growth yearly with nearly 500,000 pops each year. Romanians started immigrating to Flanders now from Moldavia. Alright, good stuff. We now have 230 battalions ourselves, so I'm ready to declare. And actually, if we were to make Portugal our protectorate, we would have Germany joining in. Because we don't really have any allies to support us in this one, we're just gonna go for conquer state. It's only gonna be Spain and Portugal, so we can definitely handle that ourselves. Now, what we will be aiming to take in this war is just their stuff here in Africa, and maybe if we fight them again in the future, then we can actually take them out in Iberia and maybe take their Indonesian belongings as well. They have like a couple of colonies here. So with my primary army, I'm actually just going to stay in the Netherlands and defend here. We are going to set defend front. Let's give luxurious supplies to our army as well for more offense and defense. And with the 99 battalion stack, we are going to invade Portugal ourselves. Pretty crazy. This is already 73 infamy and we're just taking like 4 or rather 5 states. And we have been expelled from the British Empire power block, which is really bad because we now have minus 350 authority as we no longer get an authority bonus from our law enforcement levels. So this really sucks. We actually have to cancel our greener grass campaigns. Alright, we already have a naval invasion by Spain. So we're going to send our units to the Flanders front. We have a nice advantage here and we are completely crushing them, so they have no chance to invade us. Get out of here, fools. In the meantime, we very quickly occupied Angola, so now we're going to do our own naval invasion. Let's go for Portuguese Guinea. I love it. They're using their entire army to invade us in the Netherlands and the rest of their armies are in Iberia, so we are completely free to naval invade whatever else they have left. And yeah, I guess there wasn't ever a better moment for us to form our own power block. We're gonna make it a trade league with external trade. Let's give this a nice name. Imperial Circle, there we go. We have 4 members currently, and apparently our power block is the second most powerful one already. And this means we would be getting a mandate in just 5 years. But we're gonna aim to obviously get more members. We're gonna start improving relations with the South Americans, get them in here because they are minor powers. So this would add a lot of progress towards mandate growth. So we're gonna try and get nice little treaties with them, such as this one. Just give a quick guarantee to Bolivia. We can actually give them investment rights, don't even need to guarantee them. And this will give us enough leverage to eventually drag them into our power block. Gonna try and do the same with the other countries, but we're gonna need to wait for higher relations first. Okay, it's over for them. Spain has already left the war, which means we can just finish this naval invasion and we can invade Portugal and Iberia. They're gonna be done for. And alright guys, this is it. Portugal is screwed. We completely took them over. Look at this beauty now. We own so much land in South Africa. I think it's a good time to start driving up our economy a little bit. And we're gonna do it by using tools. Right now we have a 70 shortage for tools, which is basically nothing. We're gonna raise the subventions for exports. For now, just gonna go with low subventions because it already will be a little bit expensive. And this means there's gonna be a much bigger demand for tools. As you can see, just a week passed and we already have 1.5 thousand demand. So now we can continue building tooling workshops and they're going to give us a lot of profit because we're going to be filling up the demand that we just created. And this is just a start. We raise the low subventions, but eventually we're gonna max it out and it's gonna create a huge demand. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a cleanup spree as well. We can start with Gaza. We're gonna take Transvaal, Zulu if possible, if nobody's really going to intervene here. We do, however, kind of need to pay attention to our infamy because we already have 77 now. So it wouldn't hurt to just, chill for a little bit. Bro, how did this even happen? Does France have like some kind of an event? So Paris defected and is now called Paris Commune. They have a truce with France. They somehow just survived it. An independent country with 400,000 GDP. What is going on here? Oh, I guess this might actually be related to an event, because we got one ourselves now. Crisis in Paris. Discontent in French Republic has led to the seizure of the city of Paris by revolutionaries. France is now split between 2 rival governments, that of Paris and that of Versailles. Interesting. So India completely fractured, and Bengal, the largest country in India, formed their own power bloc immediately, joined front. Good on them, good on them. And that's what you get for kicking us out of the power block, Great Britain. Screw you, bro. Okay, after we enabled some new production methods, we will need rubber. The good thing is that we have access to a bunch of rubber plantations in our colonies. Our colonies actually have a crap ton of rubber, so we're good, we can just build. Actually, pretty much nobody is producing any rubber yet. We're the first producer with just 160 units, and Cuba is in the second place. We have access to the first principle for our power block, and we're gonna rush for colonial offices. We need to get back the colonial growth generation that we had. A deadly fire has killed many workers in South Cameroon due in part to dangerous working conditions and locked emergency exits. It's been revealed that Manfred, a prominent member of the industrialists, was the owner of the now scorched factory. We can arrest and remove him from the position of power. But guys, the thing is that Manfred is one of our company's executives and he's very popular. In our country, executives are above the law, so we're actually going to protect them. This is exactly why only the wealthy are allowed to vote in our country and why we have secret police for matters like this. Oh nice, actually we have access to 30 construction sectors per state now, so immediately we're just going to max out because we are making cash. We have nearly 30 million sitting in the investment pool and we're still generating cash. So we need a little bit of an upgrade, it seems. I'm just making a bunch of treaties with everybody. I made treaties with the Heavenly Kingdom, with Empire of Korea. Actually, in this playthrough, there's a lot of interesting tags. We have the Belgian government. We also now have access to the power plants, so we're going to start by building one power plant in all of our states. Then we will switch the production methods and build accordingly how many more we will need. I'm still building more and more construction sectors simply because we're just not losing much money. We barely have any credit left. Need to get our numbers up. Already at 3,000 construction and is growing. Oh shit, our ruler will change ideology to enlightened royalist now. Wait, no, that wasn't our ruler, that was our heir. Too bad we cannot arrange accident for our ruler, because we could actually do this for our heir, but we need him. If we want to pass the multiculturalism law, then we will need him. And we finally have some of our first countries joining our power block. Welcome the Empire of Korea, as well as Denmark. Alright, we have a shortage of automobiles. This is where we will make a lot of money. 4,000 predicted earnings per building. Okay, so we're very close to 1900s. Let's see how much GDP we can push for by then. So we had low subventions on tools, we still have a surplus. Now we're gonna go on maximum subventions, which is predicted to cost us 700,000. Pretty much immediately we're gonna have an insane demand for tools. It's just gonna keep growing now. Our GDP is growing fast now, and we're gonna focus on building a lot of tool workshops. Oh wow, this is really cool. For 5 years we get 25% discount on decree cost, so this saves us 150 authority. Actually very good because we can get manufacturing industries in Friesland. I actually would love to get it in all of our states for now. And there we go guys, we are entering the 20th century and we comfortably have over 300 million GDP right now. We are the first greatest power when it comes to GDP. We surpassed Great Britain by a ton. Actually, Russia now is in the 3rd place as well. What was previously Qing is now Heavenly Kingdom in the 5th place. We have Bengal, previously East India Company, in the 6th place. We own another 339 million GDP in other countries. Our company actually tripled the profits since the last time we checked this. It's now 2.4 million. Well, I guess this is thanks to us maxing our subventions on the exports of the tools. We are producing 83,000 tools now, which is pretty wild compared to the 2nd place. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this run. If you did, make sure to click the like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Not sure if this video will do good because I've been doing only EU5 pretty much for the last few months. But if it does, you might see more Victoria Free pretty soon, especially when the new DLCs start coming out. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one.